He opened the Uber door with that easy smile he saves for weekends, leaned in, and froze like someone cut the power to his body. What would you do if the driver staring back in the rearview mirror was your wife, the one you stopped coming home to? And if it were you standing on that sidewalk with your mistress on your arm, would you get in or would you run? I'm Jasmine Williams, Harris, mother of twin girls, daughter of a woman who keeps the porch light on even when she's bone-tired, widow of a good man named Andre. And yes, the wife my husband Malik decided to stop loving in slow, quiet ways. I also have stage 4 ovarian cancer, the kind that makes doctors measure hope in months, not years. So when Malik ordered an Uber to take him and Aaliyah to Dallas for a romantic weekend, I did what a lot of people talk about, and almost nobody does. I took the wheel. I eased my sunglasses down just enough for him to see my eyes, and I said it like it was any other Friday. Get in seatbelts, Dallas right. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. Aaliyah's hand slipped off his arm, and a little voice in my head said, "Okay, you asked for truth, let's drive straight into it. But before the highway, let me back you up. There was a time I didn't need plans like this because life felt sure. That was with Andre. He was Sunday pancakes and lunchbox notes kind of good. The kind of man who makes grocery runs feel like a date, who dances off beat in the kitchen just to watch you laugh. We had twin girls, a house where laughter found corners to hide in, and the sort of peace that makes you think storms are for other people. Then one Tuesday on I-45, a truck drifted where it shouldn't, and a phone call cut our story in half. I became a 29-year-old widow with 2 5-year-olds who still thought broken crayons were the worst thing that could happen. I worked, I cried, I worked some more. I slept in small, scared pieces, and somehow the girls grew fierce and bright anyway. Years later, at a church barbecue, my mama forced me to attend. I met Malik. Good shoulders, decent jokes, a smile that looked honest. We dated, it felt nice. Not lightning, just a lamplight against the dark. He proposed in a restaurant, strangers clapped, and I said yes. Because you get tired of being the strongest person in every room, you know what I mean. Courthouse wedding, matching dresses for my girls, promises said under fluorescent lights. For a minute I believed a steady love would be enough. Then the thinning started. First it was, I'm tired. Then work is rough. Then he took up residence on the far edge of our bed like intimacy was contagious. He started staying out, then not coming home at all, my calls rolling straight to voicemail. While I stood at the sink, rinsing plates, we didn't eat off together. The girls noticed, because children always know when love goes quiet. And then came the doctor's office where the walls suddenly looked too close. Stage 4 management, not cure, 3 months if we're lucky. And I went home with a stack of papers that smelled like fear. I told my husband, expecting shock, a plan, a hand to hold, and he stared like I'd changed the channel on a show he didn't like, said, "That's terrible," and left to get some air. Air. That's when I understood what I was really married to. A closed door with my name on the wrong side. The day I stopped pretending was a morning like any other, which is how these things go. He came in at sunrise, smelling like a life he wasn't living with me, set his phone on the nightstand, and stepped into the shower. I picked up the phone with hands that didn't feel like mine, tried the wedding date for the passcode, because cowards love symmetry, and it opened. The thread was labeled AB. Can't wait for Dallas this weekend. Booked us a hotel. Let's Uber so we can cuddle. I felt a cold, clean kind of anger sweep through me like someone opened a window and winter walked in. Not the throw a vase kind of rage, the make a list and pick the sharpest knife kind. I signed up to drive that day, passed the checks, downloaded the app, and on Friday at 5:58 p.m., 3 blocks from Aaliyah's apartment, My phone pinged with their request. So here we are, my cap low, my heart trying to punch its way out, and two people sliding into the back seat of my car like they aren't stepping into a confessional. The first miles out of Houston are quiet, the kind of quiet that feels like a thick sweater you can't take off. I let the silence sit, then I put words into it. So I say, adjusting the mirror so I can see both of them, how long has this been going on? Aaliyah glances at him. He rubs his thumb against his finger the way he does when he's lying, and he says my name like it's a warning. Jasmine. Just a question, I say, soft but not gentle. 6 months a year, or did you start before the vows even dried? He tries to pull the high road out of his pocket. This is between you and me. Leave her out of it. I laugh a sound with no sugar in it. She's in my back seat. Malik, she booked the cuddle Uber, she is in it. But you didn't tell her the other part, did you? Aaliyah's voice goes small. What other part? Pattern interrupt. I tell her. I have cancer, I say, and the word lands like a plate on tile stage 4, not the kind people beat with green smoothies and optimism. The doctor gave me 3 months. And your man here decided he was too busy to hold my hand. Silence beats against the windows. She whispers, I didn't know. And I believe her, because there's a way people say that when they really didn't. He leans forward, voice hard. Pull over. No, I say. Pull the car over, Jasmine. There's an exit coming up. I say, calm as a locked door. You can get out. Call another ride. Tell her why you can't tolerate 6 hours with your wife. But I'm not pulling over for your comfort. He sits back. You ever watch a man fold without moving? It's in the eyes. They go dim like a storefront at closing. We stop at a rest area near Huntsville. Fluorescent lights, vending machines with snacks that always disappoint regular families doing Friday things. I dry swallow 2 pills because the pain is humming, and water feels negotiable. And in the mirror over the sink, I barely recognize the woman staring back. Cheekbones too sharp, eyes with too many midnights in them, a baseball cap trying to do too much work. Aaliyah stands at the next sink, washing her hands longer than necessary, doesn't speak. When we walk back, she keeps a few steps behind me like sorrow just took a little of her height. Back on I-45. I tell the truth I wanted once and now dread saying out loud. I didn't need fireworks. Malik, I didn't need you to be Andre. I needed a partner. Someone to make tea when my hands shook, to sit through bad news without looking for air, so to talk to my girls like their voices mattered. That's what love looks like when life gets real. It shows up. He says I didn't know how to handle it. And he means cancer. Grief, the weight of a real marriage, but the word it is doing too much work. Then say that I tell him, say you were terrified and selfish, and you ran, don't wrap it in meetings and deadlines. A few miles later, I have to pull onto the shoulder, because the tears are blurring the lines on the road. Hazard lights blink small orange truths on the concrete. For a second, I think they'll take their chance and go, and instead the back door opens. Aaliyah comes around and puts a hand on my shoulder, like a person who finally sees another person's whole life. I'm sorry, she says, voice shaking. I'm so sorry. It doesn't fix anything, but it matters anyway. We roll again, and I lay out the future like a mother who knows time is a small blanket you have to share. When we hit Dallas, you contact me through a lawyer only. You sign whatever the court needs so my mama has full custody of my girls. Not because you were ever their father, you weren't, but because paper can do mean things to children when a woman dies, and I'm not letting paper take them 1 inch from love. He flinches, which is what truth feels like when it goes through vows someone didn't keep. I ask him a question I already know will hurt, but I ask it anyway. Did you ever love me? He stares at the dark, then says, I thought I did at first, and somehow that is worse than no. Then why didn't you leave? I ask why not choose honesty over slow dying. It felt easier to stay and keep my distance than start a divorce, he says. And there it is, the sentence that kills 100 marriages a day. Easier to stay than to be honest. We ride into Dallas, where glass and light pretend money can't be lonely, and I ease the car up to the hotel entrance while a valet watches 3 people try to figure out who they are. Malik leans forward, eyes wet, and whispers it again. I'm sorry, and this time it lands because regret finally found its way to his face. I nod. I believe you. But sorry doesn't give me back time. Sorry doesn't tuck my daughters in when I'm gone. They step out. He stands with the door half open like there's one more thing that can save him. There isn't. And I pull away. On the drive back, somewhere between the city glow and the empty fields, I feel a quiet open inside me that isn't rage or fear, just space like the sanctuary of a church when nobody's singing. I turn on an old R&B station and let a slow song on low volume keep me company, and for the first time in months, I breathe like the air belongs to me again. Back home, I choose small joys on purpose. I change the locks, call a lawyer, fold the girls into a Saturday of pancakes and nail polish, and a movie we barely watch because we're talking over it. Kiara asks if Malik is coming by, and when I say no, she says good, in a voice that could light a porch for years. I don't tell them the whole of the diagnosis that day. I give us one more normal afternoon because children deserve some Saturdays that don't carry the whole world. He calls, he texts, he shows up once and says my name through the door like a man asking a stranger for a favor. And I don't open it. Boundaries are love-wearing work boots. The next time he tries, I call the police and he stops trying to enter the house where he had already left. Midway through this new routine of soft mornings and hard afternoons, the twist shows up like bad radio you can't switch off. Valentine's Day. A flower shop on Richmond, cheap romance playing on a speaker, Malik buying roses for someone new because some people paste normal over ruin like it's wallpaper. He steps onto the sidewalk with a bouquet wrapped in red ribbon, and a car jumps the curb. No warning, no hesitation, just the ugly thud the body makes when physics doesn't care. The driver isn't a stranger. She's one of those past everythings he ghosted when they started wanting a real life. People scream, someone calls 911, roses scatter across concrete like a cruel joke, and the city keeps humming, because cities always do. Do you think that's fair? Is that justice, or is that just more pain finding somewhere to land? If it were you, what would you have done? I heard about it not from the news, but from the whisper network of mutual acquaintances who love to deliver tidings with their eyebrows raised. Some said karma, some said tragedy, most said nothing useful. I didn't go to the hospital. I didn't call. I sat at my kitchen table with a mug I wasn't drinking from, listening to my girls in the next room arguing about glitter polish, like the world wasn't tilting. I won't pretend sainthood. A small part of me felt the click of a circle closing. Another part felt nothing but tired, like grief had run a marathon in shoes that didn't fit. I don't want the universe to do violence on my behalf. I want the truth to do its job. Here's the job I gave myself. Teach my daughters how to make the cornbread they love using my handwriting, so they can hear my voice in the recipe label, the boxes in the hall closet. So Mama doesn't have to guess later, write letters for birthdays. I won't reach and say the hard things slowly, so little bodies have time to process big realities. Tell them their daddy Andre loved them in a way that makes the whole world safer. Tell them Malik's leaving had nothing to do with their worth. Tell them love isn't fireworks, it's presence, and presence is a choice people make every day. Stick around, because what happened next will blow your mind. Not because something exploded, but because nothing did. I let the calls from people who love gossip die in voicemail. I let the mornings be quiet and honest. I let Mama hold me when the pain made the ceiling blur. I watched my girls paint each other's nails the wrong color and laugh about it, and I chose that, right there, over bitterness, over revenge, over the temptation to let somebody else's mistakes become my personality. You know what I mean. So where does that leave us? With a question, the comments are going to split in half, and I welcome it. What do we owe the people we promised to love when life gets heavy? Do we owe forgiveness no matter what? Or do we owe responsibility first? Honesty, presents the simple act of showing up. Was what happened to Malik some kind of cosmic balance? Or was it just one more broken person breaking things? If it were you driving, would you have taken that trip or walked away? And if your partner abandoned you the moment the doctor said the hard words, would you ever give them a second chance, or is the second chance something you save for yourself? Here's my truth. Forgive him and the people when they use that word like a magic spell. I think he has miles to walk with the truth, and those are miles I can't carry for him. My job is smaller and bigger at once. Love my girls, let my mother love me. Write our names on the traditions that make a house into a home and never again confuse someone else's comfort with my worth. I was invisible for a long time in my own marriage. On that 6-hour drive, I made sure I was seen, and now I am done spending my last days trying to convince anybody of anything. If this hit you, say so. If it made you angry, good. Anger is a compass when it points you back to yourself. If it made you cry, also good. Feeling is how we find each other in the dark. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me what you would have done in that car. Tell me if you believe in second chances, or if you believe, like my mama does, that some doors need to close all the way so the wind stops moving through your bones. Do you think what happened to Malik was fair, or just more evidence that hurt people keep the world spinning crooked? Drop your thoughts below. Argue with me respectfully. Share your own story, if you've got one. And if this helped you feel a little less invisible, share it with someone who needs that reminder too. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, because there's more to tell. What happened after the flowers, how I spent the time I had, what I left behind for my girls. And I don't want you to miss the part where love, the real kind, keeps showing up long after the credits.